Hey everybody, it's Kira with Polymer Clay TV, and today I am using iced enamels as well as some other types of embossing powders to create this awesome little set that I can now make into jewelry. So grab your polymer clay. You only need one color. Today I used a dark brown color, and let's get started. Alright, so here's what I ended up with in case you're going to create this along with me. I did 3 of the largest of the heart-shaped flower. Those are here, and I think I'm going to arrange them like that on my necklace. And then I did 3 of the smallest because I found that the medium-sized one, see there's 3, the medium-sized one covered up too much of the large one for what I want to do, which is stack them. Kind of like that, stack them up to make a flower that has 2 layers. So I created 3 large, 3 small, 2 extra small ones to do earrings, and then 2 of the large veined leaf and 2 of the medium veined leaf, and that's also so that I can do earrings to go with the necklace. So now I'm going to be making the holes in all of these and baking them because the enamels require this glue, and you don't want to bake the glue, you want to put it on after when you're all ready to go. So first things first, make all the holes, and for these I'm going to put holes here. See where all these are sort of facing each other? There and there. So I'll zoom in a little so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm putting a hole here, 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 and here, and then at the top here and here, so that I can string this all together and create a necklace that has this big floral focal point in the middle. Okay, so I've got some nice big holes for some big jump rings to put them together in this way. And then what should I do? Should the leaves be up here or should I have them down? Alright, so I decided to move on to a tile so that I could really see what I'm thinking about doing here, because what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the leaves to hold everything together and not use the jump rings to attach the flowers together here. So I have 2 extra holes which I can either smooth out or not worry about too much because I'm going to hang it from here and here. These leaves are going to hold the middle flower on, and then I'll probably dangle some gemstones or something right here. So I'm good. Now for the flowers earrings, I'm gonna do something similar. Do like a little off. Here we go. Put that like that so that the flower has a little leaf dangle like that. And then put a hole here to hang it. All right, so I'll make another one over here, just spacing things out so I can see what I'm doing. And I did all of the flowers and things with the burnt, or the, I used this big block of Primo, and my color is burnt umber. I like this color because it looks like antiquing in the cracks, and then you don't have to go back and antique your piece. So it just depends on what you're going for. Okay, and then I have these 3 other little flowers that are still on my plate there, and I'm going to attach them now because when I do the enamels, that gets painted on with that glue. So I'm not worried about like covering anything up or whatever. I just want to place everything together and bake it. And then I've been warming some gold clay. This is Primo Antique Gold. And this is just to do centers, to put a little center of the flower. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot of it in the middle of each earring piece. I'm going to use my bullet tip rubber tool to make an indentation and press it down. So we'll do another one over here. And the reason I'm indenting it is twofold. One is it's pushing it into the clay and making it stay. And the other is maybe later I'll want to stick a crystal in there or something, so I'll have the area to be able to do that. I want these to be kind of small so that they don't cover up too much of the design. So I've got my pieces now cured and taken off the tile and not warm anymore. I've got a small brush, the iced enamels medium. I opened up my containers, and I also have a coffee filter so that I can dump the powders back into their containers. And I'm going to be using those other powders that I showed you in different spots. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint on the medium and put the powders where I want them. So in between colors, I'm just going to shake the glue. I'm finding that putting the little bit of glue into the cap works really well. That way I feel like I'm not wasting it. So just shaking a little glue into the cap to use. And I'm going to move on to the next color. So I did not put glue up here, so I'm just going to use a dry brush to brush it off of where I didn't glue it down. I suspect it's sticking because of a little bit of like static electricity, because that's what happens when you use embossing powders. They sort of want to stick to plastic, especially because they're such soft, fine little particles. So you can keep a dry brush around to just make sure that your powders don't go where you don't want them. And I'm just going to continue until my flowers are all covered with the powders. All right, once you have covered your entire piece with where you want the enamels, you can come back in with something like I've got a big toothpick here and put the details back in, because the powder, it's hard to keep it completely off of, you know, any space where you didn't want it, especially like down the veining of the leaves, maybe a little bit up in here. It just depends on how you want it to look. If you don't want it to be solid, then now's the time to kind of move it around. and put the details back into your work. And I'm just kind of following the veining that was put in there with the press, the clay tool thing. And then I'm just looking for a little bit of this fun mandala detail to kind of show. Okay, and I've done a little bit on the earring parts as well, just to kind of bring back some of the little details. I feel like I'm channeling Bob Ross, the happy little details of your piece. Okay, now make sure that all your powders are covered and capped, because we're going to start blowing air around with our heat tool, which is this is a heat tool. This one is the Darice heat tool, which does blow a lot of air. It's also like something like 300 degrees on the tip here, so make sure you're not going to be touching the tip. And then we're just I'm going to use my wooden toothpick to hold this down while I apply heat. Otherwise it kind of blows around on the tile, and you don't want that either. So just clean up around yourself, get rid of all the excess powders and things, and get ready to apply heat with your heat tool. And you're just going to be melting the powder directly onto your piece. So here we are with all the pieces done, and you can see that the heat gun basically makes the embossing and iced enamel powders go glossy, and then they go flat. The iced enamels go a little bit more opaque and flat than the other types of embossing powders that I tried. And I wanted to point out that I used this silver color on all of them, and that is something that I chose to do to bring them all together. So it's going down the veins of the little leaves for the earrings, down the large leaf veins, around the outer edges of all the flowers. This center flower has a lot of the silver on it, and that is my unifying element, so that it's on everything. Also the pink, the bright pink, is on all of them. So just remember to bring a little of every color that you're using all around everything that you do as a set, because that will really bring it together and make it look like it goes together. So I hope you enjoyed this. Now, the iced enamels does say that you can seal it afterwards with the iced resin, and I may decide to do that, or maybe not. I'm gonna see if I can mess with this. Like, it seems like it's on there pretty tight, so I don't really need to seal it with resin. To me, sealing with resin is a pain, and I don't love doing it. So I may just leave these as they are. It's really quite nice with this aged kind of a look to it. So we would love to see what you make with this technique. So be sure to post pictures. We have a Polymer Clay Tribe Facebook group where you can come and share. And for example, I had a contest where I am giving away these earrings to whoever guessed Hopefully somebody guessed that I was going to use the iced enamels. So come to Polymer Clay Tribe and check us out. That's on Facebook. And be sure to come to our website, polymerclaytv.com, to find out more about the tools and supplies that were used. Thanks for joining me today on Polymer Clay TV, and have a great week.